Hey everybody, Destination College Rising Seniors. This is Russ, obviously. Um, this is for parents and for students, for those of you who were not able to make the sessions that we've done over the past couple of weeks. So please take a listen. I'm going to take you through some things, talk to you about how we're going to work together over the summer, answer hopefully some questions you may have regarding the essay application process, and start talking to you a little bit about how to get going on essays. So first, today's goals. I want to make sure we're all on the same page, make sure we get as much done over the summer as possible. Look, I get it. I mean, you kids now do so much more than what we did when we went back to school. So it's tough, and you earned a break. But unfortunately, especially if you're going to play fall sports or have a fall presentation, performance or something that you're planning for, once middle of August comes, you're going to be involved in schoolwork and all kinds of things. So the more we get done over the summer, the easier your fall is going to be, I promise. So we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to hopefully bite it off in small little chunks for you and help you ease into that. So I'm also going to discuss with you how to balance, high school demands and requests, and discuss a little bit how we're going to work together. Introduce you to Common App if you haven't seen it or talked about it before. I'm not going to go through a tutorial on it, but I'm just going to go through the essay application aspect of things and talk to you about a couple things about it. Share do's and don'ts. And on this, I'm not going to be able to go through the sample essays, but in the essay planner that you have received that Jody sent you, there are sample essays in there, but I'll talk a little bit about that at the end. Okay? So, how we're going to work together. This is the official kickoff of the essay application season. At the next meeting that you have with me, I would really love it if you had some form of a draft essay. Now, let's talk about what that means. First off, please don't bring an outline to me, okay? We're going to talk through the essay prompts, how maybe you can do some, make a decision. I also gave you a brainstorming and personal interview questions in the packet that we sent you, the essay planner. So a whole bunch of things to start thinking about what you want to do, what you might want to write about. But next time I see you, it would be great if you had some version of something. Now, when I say that, please, I'm going to work with you. We're going to edit and polish this thing on and on, maybe even change essay topic at some point. It depends. But please don't stress yourself out worrying about it. It's not that good. The intro's terrible. I don't have a conclusion. It's kind of all over the place. It's way above the word limit. I don't care about any of that stuff. Okay, please. None of that matters. I'm going to help you every bit of the way. Okay, so please don't put pressure on yourself. Don't stress about it. Don't worry about it. Don't tell me that it stinks. Just write what you feel like writing. I don't care if it's 3 pages. Just write. Okay, the more you give me, the more we can talk about, the more we can have conversation. And who knows, we may go on another side topic. So next meeting, bring at least 2-3 paragraphs of something you're thinking about writing about, so I could also learn your writing style. But please do not stress about it in any way, shape, or form, because we're going to do this together, and I promise you're in good hands. Okay, no stress, no pressure, at least at this point. Okay, so also, I prefer Microsoft Word. Now, I'm going to tell you why. First is, and the biggest reason is, I understand. Even my daughter, who just finished her sophomore year, uses Google. I get it. I have nothing against Google. But just this week alone, I received 3 essays via Google, and I clicked on it and said, access denied, request access. Then I got a request access. You don't check your email for a week because, I don't know, for some reason you kids don't do that. So now all of a sudden you think I'm working on it. You think I have something. You think I reviewed it. Your parents ask you, well, why didn't he get back to you? It's because I didn't have access. You didn't check your email. Okay, so please send it in Word. If you're going to send it in Google, if you're not going to listen to me, then definitely at a minimum, send the Google link, but also copy and paste it in the email text. That way I have it. I can definitely see it. I can definitely give you feedback. I can definitely read it. Okay, please? So if you're not going to listen to me and send it in Word, or for some reason you don't have Word, send it in a Google Doc, but also please copy and paste it into your email text so I have it and we don't waste time. Also, every essay. Now, the Common App isn't quite as important other than the prompt, but with other things, because we're going to have supplemental essays, I'm sure we're going to do as well. I need your name. I need the specific question that you are answering, and I also need the word limit. In order to give you feedback, I need to know what question you are answering, and I need to know the word limit. Okay, so please don't forget that. Do not think I have all this stuff memorized. I'm going to memorize a lot of them as we go through the process, but I don't like to rely on that. I want it right there in front of me. So cut and paste, or I should say copy and paste the specific question you're answering, especially with supplements, but even with the Common App, I want to know which of the 7 prompts you're going to answer and tell me what the word limit is. Common App, you don't need to do that. I know it's 650. You know it's 650, or at least you do now. But I need to know what the word limit is for all your future supplemental essays, okay? You need to track your essays, how many you need to do and all that kind of stuff. But I will help you when we meet, and we'll discuss all those things to help you get organized, okay? But, certain things like merit and honors and different programs or Southern schools sometimes might have an accelerated calendar. So you definitely want to check the application status on the specific website and or on the Common App and make sure that you don't miss any of those time frames. After you listen to this, please call Jody and set up 2 meetings per month, at least for July and August. I know September might be asking a lot at this point, but at least for July and August. If you are going away over the summer for vacation or camp or sports thing or a program or taking classes or whatever it is that you might be doing, please set up meetings and tell Jody if you need more than 2 in a month. Explain to her why, because you're leaving for a certain time and you want to make sure you get in. But don't have the meetings closely spaced too close, because you're not going to get anything done. You should have at least a week between meetings with me, so that way you have some time to get some stuff done. Okay? So as of now, as soon as you're done with listening to this webinar, you can call Jody and set up 2 meetings in July, 2 in August, or something like that, depending on your schedule, okay? Parents who are listening, please, essays must be written by your student. I know that sounds obvious. However, every year, a couple's parents try to get one by me. And I don't know. I guess it's possible that people may have in the past. But listen, I can usually tell an adult writing versus a student's writing, okay? And so could college admissions people. So is this essay supposed to be more polished? Yes. Is it supposed to be more time given towards it so it's a better, well-written essay? And everything, by the way, is relative according to your child or to the student's ability to write, obviously. But it has to be and stay in their voice. If I ask them what a phrase means or what words mean and they have no idea, I'm going to know that they either used a thesaurus and just kind of, wordsmithed it too much to make it unnatural or inauthentic, or that they got outside help. Okay, so, look, a lot of I wrote a book. I wrote a book last October. All right, I'm not a sophisticated writer. I kind of write the way I talk. I try to talk plainly. I try to talk clearly. I try to talk realistically. I try to talk with a little humor. That's how I tried to write the book. I'm not going to try to make it a more sophisticated thing than who I am and what I'm about. And it's the same thing with the essays. So parents, I promise you're going to see the end product of the Common App essay or personal statement. If you have any questions about why it is the way it is, please don't ask your child. Come to me. I'll explain to you exactly why it is, what our process is, what our thinking is. I'll take your feedback for sure. But I'll also explain to you, I've been doing this for 15 years, okay? So it needs to be authentic. And parents, I love the fact that you want to help, but please make sure that the help you're giving is actually helpful, not something that's going to hurt them in the process, okay? And if you have questions about it, please reach out to me directly. Okay, so August 1. August 1 is when the Common App officially comes out. Now, you can go to commonapp.org, and again, this is in the essay planner we sent you, but you can go to commonapp.org, you can create your account, and you can start filling in the basic information, family, personal, class schedule, testing if you are further along in that process. But do not go to the specific school information, the questions and or the supplemental essays until after August 1st, please. I say that because you very well could be wasting your time writing a supplemental essay that was from last year, not this year. So August 1st, up until August 1st, you can do all the busy work and all the no-brainer kind of stuff, including your activities and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to review it all before it's submitted, so don't worry about it. I'm going to review it all with you, okay? But please don't try to write a supplemental essay for any colleges yet, and also please don't fill out any of those questions yet because you may be doing it for a previous year, and I don't want you wasting your time. My hours starting actually Monday. What is that? I think it might be the 25th. Let's just see. Bear with me for a second. No, the 24th. As of the 24th, my office hours are going to be from 12 noon to 10 p.m. at night, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Okay? Wednesdays and Fridays, I am quote unquote off, and it's in quotes like that because if you have ever reached out to me, you know that I work 24/7. I'm always accessible to you. I always respond to your texts, always respond to your emails, answer your calls. So the only difference is I'm really not going to have office hours on Wednesdays and Fridays, but that's no different from how I do it now. The big difference is I'm going to start at noon instead of 3 p.m. I also am off on weekends. Now, again, when I say off, that just means that I don't have appointments. That does not mean I'm going to be very busy doing essay application stuff. This is crunch time for me as well. But in the beginning, 15 years ago, in the first 4 or 5 years of this business, I had office hours on a weekend, and then all of a sudden it was a beautiful day, and one by one I get phone calls of people going, not feeling well, I can't come in. So I'd sit there in my office by myself while everybody else is on the beach. So I'm not going to do that anymore. So I promise you I've been doing it this way for the last 9-10 years. No, it's never been a problem. You have any scheduling issues, do your best to try to schedule it and fix it with Jody, but you can always reach out to me directly and we'll figure something out to make sure that you're accommodated. So again, I've never, ever left anybody behind in 15 years. You won't be the first. We just have to be working together, which means also you need to be efficient and effective with the time that we do spend together, which we'll discuss a little later. Please email me documents that are ready to be reviewed. Don't wait till your next meeting, okay? Especially if you want feedback beforehand. If you send it to me and you just want me to review it at our next meeting, no problem. And actually, I always reread, even if I read it before, I'm going to read it again in front of you at our meeting, okay? Because I can't possibly remember all this stuff. So I'm going to, get reacclimated with your essay, where we are with it, and all those kind of things. But if you want me to review something and get back to you before we meet, type urgent in the subject line. Okay, if you type urgent in the subject line, that tells me you want it back before we meet. Now, please be respectful with the use of urgent, okay? If you send it to me 2 days before our meeting and type urgent, why am I going to give it to you when the reality is you're not going to do anything with it? I usually want to make sure we have at least 5 to 7 days before our next meeting if I'm going to give you some urgent feedback, okay? Got to remember, I'm going to get inundated with tons of essays. Not your problem. It's for me to manage, and I will. I always do. But I just want to make sure, some other person might really need urgent for whatever their personal situation is. Please don't abuse the use of urgent, okay? So if you want something back before we meet, I will send it to you best I can, as quickly as I can, but make sure you have time and make sure you're actually going to work on it between then and the next meeting, okay? Other thing is, please don't send stuff to me piecemeal or multiple times. And what I mean by that is sometimes I'll get somebody say, urgent, please get this back to me before our next meeting. Then I start working on it. Or maybe even I send it back to them, and then a day later, or even sometimes that day, oh, by the way, don't use that version, use this one. I made some changes. Wait, don't do that one. I actually changed the whole first paragraph. I can't do that, okay? I can't waste time going back and forth and reading stuff and giving you feedback and editing things for you and when you change it, okay? When you send stuff to me, it's done until either I give you feedback that you requested or we meet. That doesn't mean you can't work on it. But at that point, when you hit send and you send it to me, At that point, it is done for now, for that time period. Okay, let me do the feedback. Let me give it to you. And then when we meet again, we can go through stuff. Okay. But please don't send stuff to me piecemeal. Like, okay, I was thinking about, then you give me notes. This paragraph doesn't really belong here. It goes over there. Like, give me your best version of whatever you've got. And we'll put it together. Okay. We'll put it all, piece by piece together collectively, okay? But don't send me multiple emails of stuff because it just becomes confusing and I can't possibly, waste time like that as well as follow the frame, okay? And on that note, please don't send me outlines. If you are really stuck and you have no idea what the heck to write about, by all means, bring an outline. Let's talk about it. We can start as a basis. But don't send me an outline because they're usually very abstract. They're disorganized. They're organized based on your mindset, not on mine, and I can't make sense of them. So please don't send me outlines because I will not review them. All right, moving on here. Balancing high school and other demands, okay? Parents and students. Early fall, you will probably have a senior meeting and guidance will get in front of you and tell you that if you're applying early action, early decision, they need at least 3.5 week notice, and they need everything in 3.5 weeks prior to the application date. Totally not true, totally bogus, and not something we're going to adhere to. Now, I say that not to be difficult. If we are ready to rock and roll, and you feel awesome about what you have and you're ready to apply and there's no regrets, no hesitation, you feel 100% confident that we've done the best job we possibly can do, then by all means, give them whatever they need. Let's work nicely with them and get them to do what they can. However, especially when it's early decision, or early action, chances are it's one of your top choices or the top choice. There's no way we're going to sacrifice 3.5 weeks just because they don't want to stay at school past 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay, we're not going to do that. So we are on our timeline. When a college has a November 1st deadline, the application, the writing supplements, your fee, that you have to pay for them for their application, and hopefully your SAT scores, depending on where you are in the process, are the things that need to be there. Your transcript, your letters of recommendation, that all can come later, and you're not going to be penalized. By the way, guidance screws up all the time because they have a high volume that they need to do. They forgot to send it. They sent it, and the college didn't get it. Like, I just don't want any of my students stressing out, sacrificing their quality of work for their top schools because of arbitrary, bogus, deadlines that honestly don't really count for anything but them. So enough on that. If we have it, happy to play nicely. But if not, you're my priority, not their timeline. And I promise you, it'll all get done the way it needs to. We're submitting the essays and most importantly, you feel are best students, okay? Not necessarily the ones that your English teacher graded, okay? Listen, I am not the only one in the world that knows how to write college essays. I am very, very good at it. Hopefully you'll think so too as we go through it. And nobody wants to work with somebody who is not good at it, right? Unless you shouldn't be with me in the first place. But get all the ideas, get all the people that you think, can help you make this thing better. I'm totally up for that. It's not an ego thing for me at all. Okay. But you have to understand there's a big difference between an English paper and the Common App essay. For the Common App essay, it's a creative writing about you, okay? We don't need an anecdote. We don't need to, follow certain guidelines. We can't start a sentence with and we can't, use I. No, total nonsense. You can write this thing however you want for effect, for interest's sake, to make it fun and exciting and interesting to read. So if you have a great English teacher that you respect and that you love their ideas, by all means, go get it. But I just want to make sure, just because you got a 93 on an English paper you submitted, for the Common App, doesn't mean that it's great for college admissions. And I'll give you one extreme example, and I use this every year. I had a kid just do that. Great kid, great young woman, and she said, "Oh no, I'm done with my essay." I said, "Great, let me see it." She's like, "Well, you don't even need to see it." I said, "Why?" She's like, "I got a 93." I said, "Okay, well, I'd like to see it anyway. Can I just see it?" Sure. She gave it to me. It was about getting car sick. Okay. She used the word vomit 7 times in the first paragraph. I mean, after reading the first paragraph, I wanted to throw up. I mean, come on, seriously? Like, first off, the overuse of a word, but also, that's not the impression you want to have with an admissions person. They read your essay and they want to throw up. Like, seriously? You want them thinking awesome things about you. You want them having good thoughts about you. You don't want it to be the throw up girl. Like, so we still included some of the stuff, but we totally changed everything and changed their essay completely. So I know that's an extreme example. I'm sure none of you would ever do that, but I just want to make sure we are following our guidelines to make sure that it's a great essay, not anybody else's. Okay. This next one's going to be a shocker. Okay. Work with your parents to brainstorm ideas. Your parents always are going to know you better than I'm ever going to know you. Okay. So ask them for ideas. Share the essay questions, share the brainstorming activities and different things I gave, and the essay planner that you have, and like go through it with them. Maybe they'll come up with some really great ideas. Now, I'm going to tell you 80% of what they give you is going to be garbage and not going to be able to be used. But 80% of what I give you is going to be garbage as well, okay? Because, there's things that, you like and things you don't like. And we don't know that off the top of our head. So be nice, but entertain the 20% and write down those ideas. You never know. We might use them, might not, might use a tweaking of that or whatever, but brainstorm with your parents. And then parents, I am not here to tell you how to raise your child, but in 15 years of doing this, I'm going to make a very strong recommendation. After you brainstorm with your child, let us do what we need to do. Please, give us room to do it. I promise you'll see it before it's done. Any feedback you can give to me, and we'll take it into account, and or I'll explain why we are where we are. But please, this is maybe the hardest thing that your child's ever going to have to do and write, because it's about them. And a lot of kids aren't comfortable doing that. So let us please do it. I'm really good at it. I'll work with them closely. I'll get them more comfortable doing it. But if you're constantly on them for it, they're just going to feel more pressure. And any feedback you give them, no matter how nicely you say it, is going to be taken personally in my experience. Okay, because again, the essay is about them. So come to me rather than them. Let us do our thing, and we'll re-engage you when we feel that the essay is close to being done. As I said, it's your responsibility to know deadlines for merit, honors, early decision, early action, those kind of things. Obviously, as we work together, I'm going to help you with some of that stuff, but especially the merit and honors. Some schools have different essays. Some schools have different deadlines. Some schools have totally different applications. So, that's a great opportunity to reach out to your admissions person that hopefully you have a contact with. Let them tell you where you can find those kind of things if you're looking for merit and honors applications, and try to make sure that we adhere, obviously, to those dates. Students, please don't stress trying to please everyone. Like I said before, show it to whoever you want to get feedback, but just understand everybody you show it to is going to give you feedback. Okay? So, it's you take, whether it's me, your parents, your uncle who's a lawyer and thinks he can write, your English teacher, whoever it might be. I mean, take whatever feedback you think is valid and really makes sense and really is worthwhile and incorporate it. Otherwise, don't use it. Don't feel bad about it. Don't try to please everybody. It's your essay. You got to own it. I want you to feel incredibly confident and great when you hit that submit button. Lastly, your list doesn't have to be final by summer. However, obviously the further along you are with your list, the more we can concentrate on the essay application process over the summer, right? So that doesn't mean, it's not etched in stone. You could always make changes. You could always make additions and all that kind of stuff, okay? So as we meet, we'll also be talking about your list as well, see if there's, where you are in the process. And at this point, I would love for you to have at least 4 or 5 schools that you're thinking pretty strongly about applying to. But if for some reason, if you're not there, we should talk about it, okay? So actual Common App essay questions, if you haven't seen them, are also in the essay planner, okay? I'm not going through these, okay? So you don't have to worry about it. I'm not going to read them word for word and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to give you some suggestions. All right, so the first thing that I would do is I'd read each one of these, and I would cross off the ones that there's absolutely no way in heck that you're actually going to write about, okay? I'm going to tell you, and some of you probably take me up on this as a challenge, and it's not intended this way, but number 4, to me, I still don't understand what it's asking. Okay, and I also think it could potentially put you in a position where you talk about things that could get you in trouble. unfair judgment. So to me, I would avoid 4 at all costs. But if you feel strongly against that, it's your essay, like I said. So we can definitely talk about it. But I would just go through and just say, okay, these 3 or 4, there's no way in heck I'm going to write about these. I want to go to the ones on the ends, number 1 and number 7. I love number 1. Okay, because I think it gives you some focus, but also gives you a lot of flexibility to literally write about anything. What your friends think about you, a drink that you concocted and made, a collection of things that you have, rituals that you might have, different things, routine that you have, music that you have. You can literally write about anything in number 1, but it's again, in the context of your identity, interest, or talent, something that really, when people think about you, it correlates to what it is you're writing about. So I love number 1. Number 7, I don't love number 7, okay? And I used to have that all the time, but I used to treat it like number 1 before they added both of these. I don't love number 7 because that implies, first off, that you may have written something else that probably wasn't about you. It was probably about something else. And this essay can't be about something else. You can't take an English paper and just submit it and say, okay, here, because they're not going to learn anything about you. And I also think it's a little bit too generic. So if you, again, feel differently, I'm happy to talk to you about that. This is not, Russ's rule kind of thing, but I'm just letting you know that there's some apprehension that I have on number 7, unless you have a specific focus, okay? The other thing is, I love number 2. Okay, and a lot of my students want to avoid that because it says failure. I'm applying to college, Russ. What are you talking about? I can't let them know that I'm a failure. You're not a failure, but your parents know, I know, that we learn most from failure and from challenges. We don't learn most from success. So again, if you have something that you had that, a different outcome than you expected, something that really challenged you, something that you actually did. And I'm not talking about failing a test or anything like that. I'm talking about an experience where you just, and probably most likely not that you didn't make the varsity team, okay? Because that's very cliche. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But if you have something like, you can write this for me the first time, however the heck you want. I'm going to protect you. So if it comes across really, really negative and I don't really know, don't worry. I'm going to fix all that with you. But if that's the only way to socialize it and to share it, then by all, just do it. If you think it has, potential, write it. I'll protect you. We'll talk together. We'll figure it out, and we'll make it an awesome essay. Okay? But don't avoid number 2 because of the word challenge, setback, or failure. Because again, they wouldn't have it in here if they didn't want you to address it, because it's some of the best essays that I've had over the years. Okay? And then we can talk about some of these other things later. Number 3, be careful. Questions, a challenge or belief or idea, make sure we're not talking about politics, make sure we're not talking about ethical, moral things, make sure we're not talking about your curfew, that kind of stuff. A teacher's grade, like we don't want to talk about any of that kind of stuff. A topic concept that you find so engaging that makes you lose track of all time. Please don't tell me you're going to write about video games. There's no way we're writing about that. Okay. So, it's got to be something, more conceptual, more intellectual, more deep, personalized. Okay. So anyway, those are just a couple of things. So go through these, cross off the ones you're definitely not going to do, circle the ones that you are. And then what I would do is under each one that you might consider, I would just write, bullet points of potential topics and then discuss it with your parents and see where that brainstorming gets you. And obviously I'll help you as well with that. Okay. Some other things. Essays are cut and paste. They're not uploaded. So once the essays are done, okay, you're going to cut and paste them into the Common App. Now, when you do that, please read them in their entirety. Make sure they cut and pasted the way they're supposed to. Make sure you didn't mistakenly leave out the last sentence. Like, make sure you did it the right way. Read the essay. You owe it to yourself. It'll only take a minute or two, but read the essay and make sure that it cut and pasted properly. The other thing is, you'll find that in the Common App a lot of times, even if it says 650, you cut and paste it and it's 653. You're like, yeah, it fit in, right? No. Word limits are there for a reason. You need to show that you can follow directions. So you're not pulling one over on the Common App, the fact that it fit, okay? If it says 650, no more than that, we are not exceeding 650. If it says 200, you are not exceeding 200, even if the Common App allows you to, okay? So please don't think you're, kind of pulling a fast one on anybody. That follow the word limits very specifically. Some of you may ask about resumes. You can put it in an additional information session, but we should talk about it first. Most colleges do not want resumes. Even the letters of recommendation, they're cutting back on big time because they don't want all the paper. Okay, so you have a list of activities that you can put 10 in for the Common App. If you have honors and awards, there's also a place you can put some of that stuff in. I will work with you to try to optimize and list as much as we can in your Common App. But again, if you think you really need a resume, we should talk about it before you waste your time doing it. And also, the additional information section would be the place to do it if that's even appropriate. Additional information, though, is a good place to discuss things like scheduling issues, any kind of grade disappointment, challenges or hardships that you or your family may have gone through. But again, definitely review this with me first. These are not areas for excuses, by the way, and hopefully anything significant will be addressed by your guidance counselor, college counselor at school, or whatever. But if not, we should talk about it. And, scheduling issue, just as an example, I had a student who was not able to take a third year of language because she doubled up in science. And the only time the language is available was during the double science. So we gave a little explanation there. She happened to take it at CCM instead, but she kind of explained, she felt that it was important to explain she didn't have any faith that her guidance counselor was going to be able to do that for her. So we'll talk about any of these things very specifically, and I'll help you to wordsmith these things if you think that additional information needs to be provided. Don't forget the art supplement. Any of you who sing, dance, perform at any level, play music, have an art portfolio, do graphic design. I mean, literally almost anything outside that you have something documented, we can definitely consider an art supplement. Now, there's this thing called Slide Room in the Common App that you would have to do it on. It gives you very specific guidance as to what to do and how to do it. Not every school cares about it. So if they do, in their list of questions after August 1st, you'll see, do you intend to submit an art supplement? Yes or no. You would say yes. And then it'll take you through all the things you need to do for that, okay? So we can definitely talk about that if you have an interest. And by the way, you do not have to major in performing arts if you're going to send something singing or dancing or, performance-based. But it's a nice way potentially to show like your holistic view of who you are, what you're about, what's important to you. So something to think about. Not all schools are on the Common App, but please search thoroughly. You'll see when you set up your account for the Common App, there's a tab up top that's called College Search. You can put the name of the college in, and you hit search, and it'll come up. If it doesn't come up, it'll say not found. Now, before you assume it's not a Common App school, remove it from that field. Go down 2 more to the state field. Put the state that it's in, and a whole list of the schools will come up that are in that state, and just make sure. And the reason I say that is you might be calling the school by a different name than what it is under the Common App, and it's not necessarily intuitive or intelligent enough to differentiate. So before you say, I can't find it, it's not in there, make sure that you look by state and look through the list to make sure that that's true. And then if it's not, you go directly to the school's website, and you would think that they would have a big button that says apply now. That's what I would do if I was the head of a president of a school, but not all schools do that. Sometimes they make you dig for it. So if it's not right there, apply now or apply here, then go to the admissions tab. And even that sometimes is not as obvious as you'd like. Then you might have to click undergraduate admissions and a whole bunch of other things. But if it's not Common App, look for it, because it could be Coalition App, which is similar to the Common App, not exactly the same, but similar, but also has a different subset of schools that apply to it. And then it's also that they can have their own app and their own essays. Okay, so I'll help you with all that kind of stuff, but it would be good if you did some homework on it first. Okay. All right, some do's and don'ts. So please do make the essays about you, not about something else or someone else. That's going to be probably the toughest thing. So your first version, don't worry about it. Like I said, no stress, no pressure, write whatever the heck you want to write. But remember, you're going to college. This is an opportunity to write about what you want to write about. This is an opportunity to write about something that's not already listed in your list of activities or on your transcript. This is the goal with this essay is if they found your essay in the middle of campus with no name on it, and then they had a lineup of 10 people, they should be able to read your essay and go, assuming you're in the lineup, obviously, but be able to go, okay, it's either that one or that one. It's got to be that specific. Okay, so it's great that you loved an event or an activity you were part of. It's great that you love your grandmother and have a great relationship. It's great that you love your brother. All that stuff is awesome. I'm not trying to take away from that, but remember, your brother, your grandmother, your activity is not applying to college. You are, and this is the one opportunity. I mean, I tell everybody, other than GPA and ACT, SAT scores, this is the most important part of your application. This is assuming you have 2 kids, 2 students that look relatively similar on paper. This is what differentiates. And I take this very seriously to make it awesome, because when in doubt, if you're up against somebody else, I want them to read your essay and say, this is our guy. This is our woman. Okay? So it's got to be about you, and I will help you do that. Okay? But keep that in mind as you're writing this. Please be patient. It might be slow going. I get it. Some of you are better writers than others. Don't throw out your stuff and get aggravated and frustrated and crumple up balls of paper and whatever. Keep it. I'm telling you, just move on to another page, because you never know. You might be, you could be, driving or something, or eating ice cream, and all of a sudden you go, you know what? I think that one way I said it on Thursday, I need to go back there because I said it in a really good way. I want to use that. Just keep it. Okay, just keep your stuff until you're done, because this is going to be an ongoing polishing, editing process. And, it'd be much better if you had the resource there for you than try to memorize how you said it the last time. Please, I can't emphasize this enough, but please utilize your time with me efficiently and effectively. Okay, and be respectful of your peers here. I have other clients, obviously. I will give you undivided attention and do whatever you need, but please, don't call the day of and cancel. That's really just not right. Look, if it happens sometimes, it happens sometimes. But please don't do that, because then, somebody else might be on a more accelerated timeline than you. They really are stressing out. They could have used that time. And now you just, now I'm going to sit there stagnant. Not that I don't have other things to do, but I'm not going to be able to help that other student, and I'm not able to help you. So please try to be as efficient as possible. Also, by the way, any of you who are going away, any of you who are down the shore the whole summer, do not come up all the way to see me for 45 minutes and go back. I don't even want that stress on my mind as far as you driving that far just to see me for 45 minutes. We can do this via FaceTime easily, no problem. Okay, just let me know. Just give me a heads up and it's no problem. We'll do it that way. But please do not, interrupt your trip, your vacation, or drive up in traffic, or drive 2 hours each way just for a 45-minute meeting. There's no reason for that. Enjoy your vacation. Be safe where you are. I do more and more things. I have students in other states and other countries that I never even see, and we get all this stuff done. So if I could do it with them, I could certainly do it with you down the shore, up in the Adirondacks, or whatever you are. As long as you have some kind of Wi-Fi or some kind of web service, we can get this stuff done. So, so don't worry about it, okay? So be efficient with me, and we'll get stuff done, okay? Don't stress over your essays. I'm going to help you with all that. You got to be real careful about the cliche topics: sports, injuries, divorce, death, camp. I'm not saying that they're not significant things, but you got to be really, really careful with that. So if you have an interesting story about one of those things, if there's something very unique about one of those things you want to talk to me about, for sure. But we got to make sure we miss the cliche topics, because they'll just scan those things right away, and we don't want them to scan. I talked about the word limits. Don't shortchange them, but obviously definitely do not exceed them. Don't get too many people's opinions, or if you do, make sure you have it in the right perspective. Don't wait until the last minute. That's why we're doing this now. For those of you who did not attend the essay application workshop things that I did live, I don't know where you're at. I'm glad you're listening to this now. I know you're busy. I get it. We're all busy. But we got to get some of this stuff done. We got to make a dent in this, and I'm going to help you do that, okay? But it's not fair to you, to your parents, to anybody else to wait until October and think that you're going to apply early decision. You're not going to do your best work. You're going to be stressed out about it. So I start this every year in June for a reason, because it does take time. So please use your time with me and with this process efficiently. Don't wait till the last minute. Let's get going. Let's start rocking and rolling. I told you how important the essay is to me. Hopefully it'll be that important to you. Don't settle on a topic. Feel good about your topic, okay? And if you don't, you better let me know about it. Every year, it's one or two people I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and I go, you know what, I got to talk to him or I got to talk to her. I think we need to just change their essay topic. And I make the suggestion. They freak out a little bit, but then we get it done. Look, again, not my decision. It's yours. But if I, for some reason, just feel like it's not where it needs to be, or that you have a better message or stronger message to share, I will absolutely share that with you. At the end of the day, still your decision, still your choice. But I don't want to lose sleep feeling like we haven't done our best work. So don't you either. Don't settle on a topic. And we already talked about the Google aspect. All right. So where you should be at this point. You should have already asked for your letters of rec. And you also, if your school has it, you and your parents should have written the brag sheets or should be working on them. If you need any help with them, you can bring them to your meeting. You can email them to me. I'm happy to help you, happy to talk you through it. Don't half bake it like I keep telling you. They'll probably take stuff right out of there and put it right into your letter of rec. Letters of rec are probably the most insignificant part of this whole process, as I said, but it is still part of the process for now. So do what you can. Don't miss any deadlines. And if you haven't asked your teachers, ask them now. Yes, I know school's out for most of you, but you can email them and make sure that you get there okay. You should know what your standardized testing plan is for the summer and fall. If not, talk to me. Next meeting, let's sit down and figure it out. Okay, so if for those of you who are done, congratulations. Awesome for you. One big thing off your plate. For those of you who are still working on it, no problem. We'll get it done together. But talk to me about it. Let's make sure we're on the right plan and the right target. You should have some thoughts about your essay topic at this point, okay? And if you didn't, hopefully after this you will, okay? So just think about it. You don't have to be very set on it, but at least have some ideas. That way you can talk about it with your parents, talk about it with me, and we can start writing. You should know what schools you're seeing this summer, if any, okay? And again, talk to me about that. No problem. You need help figuring it out. That's what I'm here for, okay? So let's talk about those things. You should meet with me when you have your final junior year grades. So again, you don't need a special meeting for it. We can include it as part of that. But when you get your final year grades, ask for another unofficial copy of a transcript, so that way I can see them, and that way we can make sure that the schools that we were talking about still fit into your list the way we talked about reach, match, safety, and all that kind of stuff, okay? So when you have that stuff, please bring it. Let's talk about it, and let's do it collectively together. You should set up essay meetings for the summer, okay? Talked to you about that in the beginning. Please do that. 2 in July, 2 in August, or some subset of that if you have personal plans, family plans, work plans, athletic plans, whatever. Okay? But let's get going. Let's start this right now. I believe there's only 1 week for sure that I'm not around for meetings. That doesn't mean I'm not available. And that's coming up actually this week. So other than that, I will be around. So we'll work things out, make sure we talk. And then by then, also, we want to make sure that your college list, at least 4 or 5 schools, you're pretty sure you're going to apply to. So that kind of concludes this at this point. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to try to give you answers. But do that at a meeting. Come to the next meeting. Let's talk about them. Bring a list of questions. Let's go through them. Let's talk about it. Set up your Common App account. Start getting acclimated and familiar with that. Find out if your schools you're interested in or know you're applying to are Common App or Coalition or something else. And let's start on those as well. Let's start writing some draft essays. Now, in the essay planner, the way I want to finalize this and finish this for the moment is in the essay planner, there are some sample essays in the back. Okay. One is called The Cosmopolitan. It's the first one. Yes, I know it's 750 words, but the word limit then was 750, not 650. So it's from several years ago, but it's one of my favorites. Read that essay, please. It breaks all the rules, but it's a phenomenal essay. Every single line, you're learning something about this student. She won the same national dance competition 4 years in a row, but the only reference she makes to dance is that she loves to dance not only on stage but down grocery aisles and in her kitchen too. You can't help but to get a great visual of this person. Okay, so please make sure that the essay is about you. And if you're struggling, not sure how, read this essay and in place of her stuff, put your stuff and see what you come up with. Might give you some ideas. Okay. Another essay there is Man Cave, and that's called a stream of consciousness essay. The guy's actually working on it in his basement, but sharing some experiences while he's doing it, and also with the thoughts in his head. So that's just a writing style. So for those of you who have, those cliche topics, maybe we can do it in that kind of way and make it not quite as cliche. I have a short answer sample in there. That's not for anything specific, but just to give you an idea. 150 words sounds like nothing, but until you have to write it, then you're like, wait, which 150 words is this good enough? So I just gave you an example there so you can get a feel for what the short answers might look like and feel like. And then the last one is the setup, and this was kind of interesting. The girl who wrote the Cosmopolitan, also the setup, came to me and had no idea what the heck they wanted to write about. And actually, the Cosmopolitan when she finally did write something, she wrote 3 pages that I thought were terrible, and she wasn't happy about it. But we were very close, and she understood. And she said, "You didn't like any of it?" I said, "Well, yeah, I liked 2 sentences." She's like, "Oh my gosh, 3 sentences out of 3 pages?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Which one?" I said, "You referred to yourself as a cosmopolitan. Let's talk about it." And the whole essay became that. Okay. The setup is one of the shortest essays that I've ever done in 15 years, but 6 or 7 different admissions people wrote a personal note to her saying how much they enjoyed it and appreciated it. It's kind of fun. It's out of nowhere. It's unique to her. But I asked her, we went through a whole bunch of things and she was really getting frustrated. I said, okay, hold on. What do you do on Friday nights, as an example? And that's how this whole thing came about. So, and it's one of my favorites, and it's fun to read. Made some changes. I added some stuff in there with her. It's not that I'm antisocial. When you read it, you'll see, not that I'm antisocial. I put that in there because I don't want them to think she was a recluse and she never left her room when she wasn't in school. The other thing, she refers to the movie The Notebook. And in the original, she actually told the ending, which at the time upset me because I hadn't seen the movie. And I took that out right away. And we made a little humor comment that you'll see about it instead, because the last thing you want to do is aggravate an admissions person by giving them the end of the movie, for goodness sake, right? So people get really upset about that stuff. For those of you who hadn't seen Endgame right away, or Game of Thrones, you have to watch it on video or something, and that really upsets you when somebody tells you what happened, right? So we don't want to do that in an essay. That leaves a bad taste in their mouth. So read those essays. There are some ideas for you. I'm going to work with you, and all I can say is this. Take a deep breath. Let's just make progress through the process together. Lean on me where you have to. I'm happy to help. I'm happy to get you moving on some things. I'm happy to let you know what to focus on versus not if you're feeling overwhelmed. Parents and student. That's what I'm here for. This is crunch time. Some of you, I've met with you a ton of times. We have a great relationship, and you know all the stuff that I've helped you with. Others of you may have not been quite as in communication with me, but now you're gonna. And now you're gonna see all the value, if you haven't before, that I provide as we go through this process. But I only can provide it if you share with me and we talk about it collectively and do things together, okay? So let's both step up. Let's get this stuff done. Let's enjoy our summer, but also make sure that we're in good standing in the fall when we go back to school, okay? So please set up those meetings. I look forward to seeing all of you soon. Have a great evening, day, weekend, whatever it might be that you're listening to this, and bring your questions and let's get rocking and rolling, okay? It's the most kind of detailed, work intense time for me, but I love this part because it's when I get to know you best, and it's when I really feel you have a great opportunity to be unique and share your uniqueness in a way that nobody else can with the schools you're applying to. So I hope you have some of that enthusiasm. Share that with me, and if not, hopefully you will by the time we're done. Okay, so have a great one, and I'll see you soon. Take care.